Welcome to See You Next Tuesday. I'm Jade Chung. This week, May 3rd to the 9th, 2021, is Mental Health Week in Canada. I had planned to do this episode since March. I think our mental health is super important. I think it's something that cannot be ignored, and I think it's part of our self-care. I want you to remember to express your emotions, the good and the bad emotions, because it's very important for our mental health. Do not ignore them. Face them so that you can identify your feelings in order to regulate them. On today's very special episode, I'm going to be covering body image with Jessicka Havok. I think body image is everywhere around us, whether it be personal life, whether it be entertainment that you see on TV or movies, and especially in pro wrestling. Society should not be able to determine what the perfect body is. And I can't wait to talk about this with my very amazing guest. Please welcome Jessicka Havok. Hey, Jessicka, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I want to thank you so much for coming on this very special episode today. I want to first off tell everybody how of an amazing person you are. And I've already told you this in chat, but people need to know, okay? Because people need to know who the good people are. And
Thank
especially
you.
in this wrestling business, like you guys need to know how great of a person Jessicka is. Okay. So this is how great she is. I met her years, I want to say maybe, my timing is so off, but I want to say probably 5 years ago. You did a show here in Toronto and we introduced ourselves. We said hello and that was it. But it wasn't until I think, I want to say 1 or 2 years later, like after that, I had met you again in Chicago. And, when I went up to you, I said hi to you and you introduced yourself to me. And, usually I'm just like, yeah, that's cool. Whatever. Like people don't, it's hard to remember people.
Yeah.
Anyway, and especially me being in Chicago, like it's not somewhere people would be like, oh yeah, Jade would be here. Of course, we should remember that she's here. But anyway, later that night, you came back to me and you apologized and said, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize it was you. But the fact that you came back and said something meant so much to me because it meant that you cared. It meant that you wanted that person to feel good and to know that, hey, I do know, like, I do remember you. I'm so sorry. Like it slipped, but just that alone, it shows just how kind you are and just how much of a good human being you are.
Thank you.
Again, I've already said it, but I'm going to say it again. Thank you so much because that thing that you probably thought was just the tiniest thing, it truly meant a lot to me.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you for saying that too. And like what you just said too, it is something that maybe somebody wouldn't think twice about, but that just shows that like any little thing, like, you don't know what kind of day that person could be having. And
yes,
it's like your interaction with that person could change everything.
Exactly.
And no matter how small you think it is or whatever. So, but that honestly, that blew my mind. Like when you told me and I was just like, oh my God, that's so like, I wouldn't even have thought of it like that. So
yeah, like it meant a lot. And I told Josh about it. Right. And, I think it wasn't until like Josh really started talking to you because like often because now he was at Impact that I thought, you know what? Like, I really want her to know just how great of a person she is. And I think telling people that is really important too, because same thing that you said, you don't know what other people are going through. and just making sure that you let them know that one positive thing that did make an impact in my life. I
Right.
just, you just had to know. You had to know. And, I hope it did make you feel good, because
It did.
you
Yeah.
being a great person, you deserve to feel good.
Thank you. That's so
So,
nice.
so on today's episode, I really wanted to touch on body image. Um, in case you don't know, this week is actually Canada's Mental Health Awareness Week. And people have been tweeting, a whole bunch of Canadians have been tweeting, and I don't want to just, limit it to Canadians. I think it's a very important thing for everyday life. So for anybody, anyone who's listening from across the world, if you are, um, mental health is truly important.
Yes.
I want to bring up body image because I also have, a slight issue with that. And I think with you, Jessicka, talking about your issue as well, it's gonna hopefully help people just see all the different types of, emotions and feelings that one might be going through. And
Absolutely.
it's all different when you're not feeling yourself. It's not just one emotion of just like being sad. It's a whole plethora of emotions, and it's something that we shouldn't ignore. And it's something that if you do see a certain trait into somebody, reach out to them, ask them. I hope that this episode will help, at least one person, but I hope it helps a whole ton of others to kind of just bring awareness, reach out to those who are close to you, and just, and listen.
Right. I think it's important that people do understand that they don't have to feel ashamed for having any issues with mental health, because there's a lot more people that do. And I feel like it's important for them to know that they're not alone.
Yes, absolutely. That's like the number one thing, is that anytime you're feeling anything, I feel like a lot of people think, oh, I don't want to bother this person with it. And it could be your best friend, and you could think about it like, I don't want to bother my best friend about it, because I've probably just mentioned it before and I would just feel like a broken record.
Right.
Like, no, talk. This is the process. You need to go through it, face those emotions, no matter how many times it faces you, talk about it. Like
Yes.
you have to validate your feelings, and you have to know that this is something and you need to address it in order to help your own mental health.
Absolutely.
Now, with body image, for me, okay, so in high school, I did start to do some modeling. And the one point where I think I was about 13 or 14, okay, so super young,
Mm-hmm.
there was a point where I thought, oh my God, like, no, like, this is my body. My agent told me, and this was about the time where, of course, I really wanted to become a wrestler. It's just like a thing that you wanted to be at that age if you were like a
Yeah.
hardcore fan, right?
Yep.
And she said, you can only do either one. You can't do wrestling and modeling because of the whole bruises thing and everything. A couple years down after that, she really made me make a choice. And not only that, when I had to go in for my measurements, because they measure, your chest, your waist, and your hips,
Mm-hmm.
she told me my hips were too big, and they were like 36 inches. Like, it was not big. Okay.
No.
And she's like, you got to lose 2 inches. 2 inches. It was
What?
at that moment I said, that's ludicrous. No, I'm not doing this. And I was done with modeling.
Mm-hmm.
like that was it, because I knew that even back then I was thin, right? Not
Yes.
like not like a unhealthy thin, but it was a thin that I knew that if I got thinner, it would get worse. Okay.
Right.
So I was at that point. Um, and kind of thankful she put that on me, because it made me realize, like, this is ridiculous. No, I'm not losing 2 inches off of my nothing body already just to make this person happy.
Right. And you were 14?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why I feel like that's part of what's wrong. Can you imagine, like, well, I mean, you lived through it. Like, it's crazy to me for someone to say that to a 14-year-old. Like, first of all, give them an ultimatum about their future, when we absolutely know that modeling and wrestling can go hand in hand,
Yeah.
obviously. Like,
Yeah.
but it's like, at the same time, to tell a kid that too, like, that could impact someone very severely mentally.
Yes. Yep. And their bodies aren't fully grown. You know what I mean? So it's
Right.
just, uh, yeah, terrible.
It is. My goodness. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt about that, but it just is.
No, no, no. It's, uh, honestly, there wasn't much more to say to it, but that I was happy that that happened.
Right.
It woke me up, and I understand that sometimes, probably most of the time, it doesn't go that way for a lot of people.
And
And
that's
unfortunately,
true. Yeah.
yeah,
It's impressive too that you had that much sense to be like, this isn't right for me. Like, if this is like, you knew already that you didn't need to lose those 2 inches. You
mhm,
knew, already that it was ridiculous for her to be mentioning that. And I mean, and unfortunately, a lot of, because kids are very impressionable, even young, like, even early 20-year-olds, like, so impressionable still. And it's just scary to know that these are the types of things that can be said.
mhm. First of all, thank you.
Yeah.
um, yeah, I was very lucky that I clued in. But also, I can really thank wrestling for that, because wrestling was something that I really loved, and that was my passion, or is my passion, was my passion at the time.
Yeah.
And yeah, that helped. And I'm very thankful. Now,
Good.
for you,
Hmm.
do you have any body issues?
So, I when I was a teenager and stuff, I didn't have issues at all.
Mhm.
And I, like you, like, when I was younger, I was like, man, I want to be a wrestler. Like, even like 10, 11, 12 years old, me and my brothers are like, having backyard wrestling federations with the neighbor kids. And I would always like try to be like stoic, like China was, and I would wait like till somebody turned their back and then do the whole low blow thing. Like, just, we took it really seriously.
I love
But like,
it.
yeah, like, it was, but that's like, we had a whole neighborhood full of kids who loved wrestling. And I remember wrestling ever since I was young, because my mom watched Glow. Her favorite wrestler was the Ultimate Warrior. Like, so that stuff has always been around. And so, like, when I was in high school, my I want to say, it was about, yeah, my senior year had just started, and I was a straight A student. And I found out that there was actually a wrestling school about 5 minutes from my high school. And I like begged my mom, can I please start training, to wrestle? Um, and she was just like, kind of like, oh gosh, like, like, because I always talked about wanting to wrestle. And her main thing was, well, you're still in school and you're a good student. So basically it was like, if you could keep your grades up and also train, then yeah, like if we could work it out, whatever. Because we didn't have a lot of money growing up. Like, so, in most wrestling schools, they'll we know how wrestling is.
Yeah.
They'll get money out of you somehow. Oh, you need to be on a payment plan. We can work that out. So, it was nice that they were able to, work with us. But so I'm 17 years old at this point, just turned 17. Actually, yeah, just turned 17. And like, was one of the, like, I was always like a punky, like alternative girl in high school, but I was friends with everybody. And like, was like, I didn't like the whole labels thing. So even though I dressed like, like all punk rock or whatever, I was friends with like, and that's throwing a label on it too. But, just, people know what the stereotypes were.
Yeah,
so like,
yeah.
But like, I was like punk, and then I had my goth friends, my punk friends, the stoner guys, the skaters. I was friends with the football players, the cheerleaders, the majority of the cheerleaders, and like just friends with everybody. And I spent most of my senior year in the art room anyway because I'd gotten most of my credits, and just like it was like, and I was in advanced placement art, so it was like there was no reason for me to leave that room. Yeah,
wow.
so like I like, and there were a lot of boys in high school had a crush on me and stuff, but everybody was intimidated by me. I don't know why, but like I've heard that a lot. Like people would always be like, oh well, so and so thinks that you're a little intimidating, whatever. And it's like, why? I'm just me. I'm not trying to be a certain way, but I guess I don't know. Like, I guess it's just the way I carry myself. And I, especially like learning how wrestling and stuff was, and then to where I am now, I'm glad that I carried myself that way, because I found that more people, especially men in wrestling, I got more respect, and they looked at me more as one of the guys rather than, oh, well, I'm going to try to talk to this girl, like, whatever.
Yes.
But
yeah.
But anyway, so when I started training in high school, and I was able to keep my grades up and train. So, my first week of training, my world was shattered when these guys are like, oh yeah, by the way, you need to lose weight. And I was devastated because, so to put it in perspective for you, like now, so in
Wait, was this the trainers?
This was
said this to you?
this was it was the trainer. He never said anything to me. But I feel like he had the guys say stuff, but he never ever said anything about my body weight to me. I mean, he himself was a really, really big guy, but when I first started training to wrestle, I was okay, I'm 5'10". I was 160 pounds. I was thin. I was like, I'll have to send you pictures, because like when I first started, like to know what I looked like when I first started and know everything that I know now, like it just sucked for them to, like, they were going as far as like we're standing in line doing like bump drills, and whoever is standing in front of me and behind me are literally poking at my thighs like, yeah, you need to lose this, like,
oh my god,
literally making me feel like I was this like monster, this obese monster. And I, like I said, but even before I started wrestling, I never in my life had anyone say to me, oh, you're fat or you're chubby or anything. So it was pretty devastating to me. And like, so I would start, like, I got like an old treadmill that was my, like at my grandpa's house. And like, I would do cardio and stuff. And like, when I started training, I was training 3 to 4 days a week, depending, and like on the trainer schedule. And like, that was one thing, like we had consistent training, but like, I was the only girl. There were 39 of us. and I was the only girl. And
Wow.
I was getting body shamed. I was getting like verbally sexually harassed. Like, and I was just like, and on top of that, at least once a week, I was, like I had my mouth busted open, like,
Oh my
because
gosh.
they wanted me to quit. Apparently I didn't know that till years later when I was on a show that my trainer had put together, because he was a promoter as well, and he ran many shows for a long time. But he, uh, I remember he was talking to, gosh, I want to say, I can't remember who it was. A vet though, or maybe it was like, I might, you know what? This is shitty for me to like not remember, but I think he was talking to Greg the Hammer Valentine.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't know I was like near, but he
Mm-hmm.
was like, because he always like kind of didn't make me feel like I did a very good job, but I hear him like basically telling him how, oh yeah, she's like my, like my best student, I feel like out of everybody here, she's going to be the one that gets signed. And like, um, but like, the first like few months of her training, like I told the guys to be extra hard on her because girls are drama and we were trying to get her to quit. So it was
Mm.
like, all those like weeks and weeks and months, and because I trained for over a year before I had my first match. But
Mm-hmm.
like, I just, like, thinking back on it, I'm like, so all the actual clumps of hair that was ripped from my head, like
Jeez.
the bloody lips and like the tears and soreness, and like obviously you're going to be sore training to wrestle, but like
But they're hitting
I
harder. They're like,
yeah, and like
it's more than what's supposed to be.
and it's crazy because for me to say this too, because I realized much later that they were actually like, it was actually pretty um shitty, like what
Yeah.
they, because it was like almost, I hate throwing this word around, but like it's almost like fucking abuse, like, and I'm sorry, can we cuss on this? I feel
Of
bad.
course. Yeah, you
Okay,
can.
sorry. I just thought of that, like, oh no, but like it's just
That's
um
absolutely abuse.
yeah,
That's they were out to do
and then
something to you. That's
yeah, and
abuse.
I felt like stupid when I overheard it, because it's like, okay, so I was just this idiot that was like, oh well, this is just what wrestling is, this is what you have to do. And it's it I don't know, I guess it didn't need to be that bad, but I will say that because of the way I was trained and how hard they were on me in the beginning,
Mm.
I feel like that has definitely toughened me up for
Mhm.
certain situations that maybe other people may not be able to handle, like in
Yes.
wrestling especially.
Yes.
um and it's like, so that's kind of when my um my body image of who when I looked in the mirror, I was starting to, for the first time ever, hate. I'm like, this isn't, because again, like even when I'm at my most lean
Hmm.
comparatively, and we should never compare ourselves, but just for, the discussion's sake, it's hard not to compare yourself. And then like, even when I'm 5'10", I, even at my most lean, like, and the weight that I'm trying to get to right now is 215.
Hmm.
I don't think that I could get back down to 165 without looking sickly, because of how
Hmm.
much my body has changed.
Hmm.
I've put on so much muscle since I first started, and like, just your body composition does change,
Yep.
so I feel like for me, a healthy looking weight would be 210 to 215, but there would still be people who will still call me fat, still,
Hmm.
because people are comparing. And even though I fill a different role in wrestling, because of my size, it's people's, still, they're just like, they're, and for the most part, there are a lot of people who recognize, like, you know, everybody's body is different. Like, I'm I am a big person and I am a little overweight for my frame right now. That's something that I do constantly struggle with, but I'm a big person. My body is like just like my height and just
Mm-hmm.
measurements and everything. Like everybody's body is different. Nobody no like it's supposed to be that way.
Yeah.
And when I first started training, like women's wrestling wasn't taken near as seriously as it is today. And my body type, even back then, even being as low a weight as I was,
Mm-hmm.
um, I was not accepted. And when I started training, my trainer did say to me, well, I hope you know that because of your size, you might have a hard time trying to make a career of this. So like you might as well just, basically just, hey, it doesn't get much better than hometown. And I
Mm-hmm.
realized later that he did this to a handful of us, and I was the only girl of the group, but like there was probably 4 or 5 other guys. And he basically kind of tried to sabotage any thoughts that we would have had of leaving the small town and going to make it bigger, because we were his most talented of his group and he wanted to keep
Mm-hmm.
his star
Mm-hmm.
wrestlers there.
Yeah.
And I realized that much later, and it's so selfish, but it's like, and I didn't know how to take that, because
Mm-hmm.
it was too many years before I got to make it to Shimmer, because I had this reputation of supposedly no showing shows, because I would take bookings early on in my career and my trainer would say, hey, you're not ready to go out yet. I'll notify them and let them know that you won't make it. And then I find out, a year later when
Oh
I
my
finally,
gosh.
yeah, so stuff like that. But he told me, he said, you're not going to be able to make a career of this, but if you want to try, basically you can't be what you are. You need to start tanning and put your tits out there and like this and that. And this is what the women are supposed to look like in wrestling. And
Mm-hmm.
as much as I hated that, I was like, well, if this is what I have to do, I guess like but I struggled for the first probably 3 to 4 years of my career trying to figure out who I was. And it wasn't until like my 4th to 5th year in where I was like, you know what? Fuck it.
Mm-hmm.
I know who I am.
Mm-hmm.
This is who I want to be. And I took inspirations from Mad Max and a video game series called Resident Evil. And
Mm-hmm.
I like, for the character that I wanted to be, and this is a person that I've always wanted, like I've always had this envisioned this character for me, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna fucking do this. Like this is
Yeah.
my choice now. I'm sick of trying to be cookie cutter. I can't do this. Like,
Yeah.
so I stopped tanning, and I'm so glad, because I look so much younger even at 34 than a lot of my friends that are my age, because they tan a lot. And it's like not even girls in wrestling, but just like just in general, like it's not
Yeah.
good for you. Like,
Yeah.
but anyway, like I just put my own twist on these inspirations that I had, and I knew who I wanted to be, and it was like everything started to click and fall into place for me. And I that's when I started getting more bookings places, and I was learning that I need to reach out. I need to be vigilant about, hey, I want to work here, here, and here. And like, one thing I will say that I'm proud of is I was able to build my own brand and get booked off of my own brand and be
Mm-hmm.
remembered by fans, win or lose, because of who I was, because of the
Yes.
brand that I made for myself. And even with all of that, like I still like always, there's always somebody in my comments from the
Mm-hmm.
beginning until now, you're fat and ugly. You're like it's always something with body image. And
Mm-hmm.
I do understand that while women's wrestling is thriving now,
Mm-hmm.
and there's so many platforms for women's wrestling and for so many women to show what they have, it's still a very cosmetic business, even though so many body types are accepted now. It's kind of crazy the way, and there's definitely still people who body shame. Like when the very first time I made it to Impact, it was actually still TNA.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I was 10 years in already had been wrestling 10 years,
Wow.
and I finally got to TV, and and they changed my look up a bit and all this stuff, but they still wanted to call me Havoc. And I just remember reading my Twitter, like, because obviously I got more of a following being on TV. They were on Spike TV at the time. They had,
Mm-hmm.
it was everybody could watch. And I just remember being devastated just scrolling through my timeline, because it's just people say, oh, she's fat, she's slow. Who is this?
Mm-hmm.
I remember this one tweet this guy sent or said, this girl needs more training. She's very green and she's so boring and slow, and she needs to lose weight. And I had already like dropped like 30 pounds and like thought that I was looking okay. And like, so it's just something that's constantly, ever since I started wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
And because I was being told all these things, like, oh, like even early on, my early 20s, I'm doing crash diets that aren't working, that are only messing up my metabolism. And I'm trying every crash diet under the sun. I'm fasting. I'm, like just trying everything I possibly can to lose weight. When in
Yeah.
all actuality, I didn't need to lose weight. I didn't. Like I spent a lot of my younger years stressing so hard about the amount of weight that I didn't have to lose, that I thought I had to, because of everything that people were saying to me.
Oh.
And that like I kind of screwed my metabolism up, and my weight can fluctuate so much, like in such a short amount of time. And I want to say probably only within these last 2 years, 3 years, have I finally learned the way my body responds to certain things, that, like certain things that I eat and things like that. And
Mm-hmm.
like, so it's just, um, I feel that I do have a bit of body dysmorphia because of this.
Mm.
And like the fasting and the things that I do. And then there's sometimes, even when I'm stressed, like I'll only eat one meal a day, because it'll be 9 o'clock at night before I realize, oh my gosh, I haven't even eaten anything. And it's not even like I don't eat unhealthy for the most part, but like it, it has affected me to the point where even when I do make huge progress in weight loss or
Yeah.
whatever, I don't see that. When I look in the mirror, I'm still like, ugh,
Mm-hmm.
I still have this stomach. My legs are too big still. And, and like, I just look too wide, and, I start to kind of like think, well, maybe these jerks on the internet are right. Maybe,
Mm-hmm.
and that's not even the case. And it's not healthy. It's not healthy for us to, um, because it's human nature for us to like, okay, I post a progress picture, right?
Yeah.
You'll
Yeah.
have 100 positive comments, whatever. You're doing great, this and that, whatever. And then there's that one person that'll be like, still fat. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
you ignore all of this positive support, and you're dwelling on that one negative. And
Yeah.
it's like us as humans to, think that way. And we really do need to change the way we think. And social media is such a big like thing in our lives right now, even
Mm-hmm.
for young children. Like, I don't know anyone who has like a child that's younger than like I see 3-year-olds with iPads now watching YouTube. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
it's because it's normal. But it's like,
Mm-hmm.
with all the hate that could be spread around on the internet and all the toxicity,
Yeah.
especially that Twitter could be like, I just feel like, what I've done for myself is I don't use Twitter hardly at all. I have one because it's for wrestling, but
Mhm.
I post and ghost. I don't even read. Because I know now that
Mhm.
if I go and I start reading every response, that if I see somebody say something negative about me, it's going to hurt me far more than I'd like to admit.
Yeah.
And it's because I've always been that type of person where I get along with everyone, and I love people. I love to
Mhm.
make people laugh. Like I try to go out of my way to make sure that people are happy. And so it's extra difficult on me when someone doesn't like me for no reason. And
It's always, not to cut you off, but it's
yeah,
always those who want to make others super happy that people tend to like not think that there's something wrong with them, or not
right.
something wrong with them, but that they
That they can
may have
handle it.
yeah, or that they may have issues of their own because they seem like so happy and like just strike up a conversation all the time, so they just think that you're good.
Yeah. And I think too, I don't know. I guess, and it's such a silly thing to say, but I get so bent out of shape when someone doesn't like me, because I'm like, why? Like, because I love people. I love
Hmm.
everyone. Like, I I don't know. It just makes me sad, because I do know that when people are saying these hateful things, to us, who they view us as, oh, they're larger than life. They're on TV, right?
Hmm.
So it doesn't matter what we say to them, because
Hmm.
they don't have feelings. They
Hmm.
literally treat us as if we are not human beings with the same thoughts and feelings.
Yeah.
Here's another, and I'm sorry if I'm rambling on too
No,
much,
you're not at all.
but like another example of just people, body shaming and projecting and being hateful, and that's what it is that there's something within themselves that they're not happy with, and for some reason going online and saying these things to people. I don't know if it makes them feel better or what,
It's like
but
lashing out.
yeah. And it's
Yeah.
like, so there was, when I first started back with Impact, about 2 years ago, there was this one guy who, anytime Impact posted about me on Instagram, he would be in the comments. She's so fat. She's so this, she's so that, whatever. And I obviously see these things. I'm not going to respond. Like,
Hmm.
once in a while, if I'm feeling sassy and I have something witty, I will say something, but I don't encourage that. Like, but sometimes, it's like, how come you could say whatever you want to me, but I can't say anything back? I don't think it's
Yeah.
fair.
Yeah.
But so for the most part, I ignore it. But this guy, he would, like, okay, on Impact Wrestling posted a happy birthday post this past year.
Hmm.
And he felt the need to comment, she's gaining weight by the day. You guys need to do something with your knockouts, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, just really shitty things to say. And
Hmm.
it's like not needed. And probably about 3 months ago, this guy direct messaged me on Instagram. And I'm like, okay,
The same guy?
yeah. So I'm like, I know this name for some reason. So I'm gonna
Hmm.
look at it. Like, so I went there, and it said, um, hey, this is so and so. I just want to apologize for everything I've ever said to you negative, this and that. Like, I realize how immature it is. I recently lost someone due to suicide because they were being bullied online. And I feel so bad, and I'm so sorry. And like, I didn't, I guess I didn't realize until this happened that my words could affect somebody, so much that they can, you know,
Yeah.
they actually ended their life, or they could end their life. And
Hmm.
that, I thought that was, I felt, first of all, I felt heartbroken that
Yeah.
he had to go through that in order to realize.
Yeah.
But also just the fact that it even happened. And I told
Mhm.
him that. I said, I'm so sorry, because it did break my heart to hear that yet another person took
Yeah.
their own life because
Mhm.
of the things that people say.
Mhm.
And and I talked to him and I was like, I don't have any ill will towards you, and I appreciate you. It was nice of you to come forward and apologize, and I do appreciate it, but I am really sorry. Like,
Yeah.
and and it meant a lot to him that I even responded and stuff like that. But I think in situations like that, it's important that we communicate, and communication is key.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, people do need to understand, and people could lash out on other people because of what they're going on, or they're going through mentally. Like they're
Mhm.
obviously not there's something that they're missing. There's a disconnect where they feel like they have to say these hurtful things to a complete stranger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, you know, a lot of people don't really see it until something tragic happens.
Yeah.
And like I don't know if there's a way to fix that. Like, let's be real and let's think about this.
Right.
Every day there's bullying online. Okay? Bullying is whether you're swearing at this person, whether you're commenting on their looks, whatever it is, it will make someone feel shitty, right? Just like
Yes.
you've been saying this entire time about this one person, right? Well,
Yeah.
not just this
Yes.
person, but just how much of an impact that puts on people.
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly, I don't know what the cure is for that, where it doesn't have to end in a tragedy.
Right.
Like
And
if you really think about it, what could we do? We talk about it. We have the Bell Let's Talk, right? We
right.
have the International Pink Day where you wear pink and you stand up to bullies. You talk about standing up to bullies. You talk about being kind. You have kindness days, stuff like that. But like how do you get into it? How do you get through people's minds? And it's
Yeah.
it's it's
Yeah.
adults, okay?
Right.
And I'm sorry, I mean I get like really passionate about this um only because you see it and it's very sickening. And not only that, but like I see it in kids too. And I
Yes.
see it in kids because their parents are the ones who are teaching them that.
Right. You're a product of your environment. When you're so young,
I just
I just
I don't get it. I do not get what people get out of bullying.
right. It's a very, like, that's another really, really big issue with the world in general, because it happens everywhere, the bullying.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's another situation within itself. And I mean, and obviously this pandemic and stuff, gosh, like
Oh
the things
yes.
that we're all living through right now
Yeah.
is, you would never think that in our lifetime that we would have been dealing with all of this. And like, I feel like, this has, just the pandemic and everything, and just the world not knowing how to react to something so unprecedented. It's like, uh, I feel badly for the kids, because
Mhm.
they truly are, like, the statistics for mental health for children right now, it's so sky high, because they're not able to
Mhm.
live their normal lives. They need to socialize, they need to see friends, they need to see people their age. They gotta be able to live normal lives. And I don't have children, but I
Mhm.
love kids so much. Like,
Mhm.
and like, I mean, on every wrestling show, like, there would always be little boys running up thinking, "Oh, you're so cool. You look like a
No.
superhero,"
Yeah.
just because I wear the mask and all this stuff. And like, so my character is always popular with kids too. And I've always loved kids. And my brother I have my first nephew.
Oh,
Yeah,
congrats.
his name's Hayden. He's so cute. But
Oh.
I just, when he told us that he like, oh, hey, me and my girlfriend are pregnant. We're going to have a baby. Like, I was so excited, but it
Mhm.
wasn't till I got the message that he was born, and it just hit me like, this is so cool. And it scares me that the world that these young ones are going to have to grow up in, like,
Yep.
because the mental health is it's such an, like, it's so common now because of just the things that we're living through. And
Yeah.
I just feel bad.
Yeah, it's over here, it's pretty much illegal for kids to be kids. Like
It's
everything, we've been on a stay-at-home order um, since mid-April. We've got 2 more weeks left. That's only if they don't extend it. But the day where they announced it and they said like parks were closed, terrible, terrible. The next morning, like Jet kept asking to go to the park. And
oh,
I had to tell him, I'm sorry, no, we can't. And he's not even 3 yet. And he was whining and
yeah,
upset. Like, how can the government make me tell my son that? Like, it was awful. And
right,
yet they lifted it within 24 hours because they had so much backlash with that. And so many parents were like, we're just saying, I don't care. We're going. And people were posting it in like groups. So in like city groups or like mom groups, they're like, don't care, guys. If you're with me, that's great. But I'm going to the park. Anyone who wants to come and join, go. Let your kids be free. Like
right,
no one was going to listen. And it's the same thing when the premier said that the cops were going to stop every single person they see who weren't home. I think I'm not sure, but like the majority of all the police departments all tweeted out, no, we will not be doing this because that's against what we do. Like it would just, it would have been a shit show. Like it would
right.
have been really bad for everybody involved. And so
And
we
that's
all stood up.
understandable.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, that's important. Like, gosh, that's insane to me, to close down parks.
And you're outside. Like I
Yeah,
and already all the parks that I go to, which I can for sure probably say for most, is that parents they just want their kids to have fun, so they will abide by the rules and they will keep their distance. Do you know what I mean?
right.
I have
Yes,
no problem doing that. I have a mask in my pocket. I'm not going to wear it outside, but if there was ever a parent who was nervous and asked me to, put it on, I will either put it on or I will just walk away, you know,
right,
go
right.
somewhere else. But also
Yeah,
I will kind of let them know like, hey, if you're uncomfortable, maybe you should go over there. Sorry. But
right.
it's just but I haven't encountered that. So it's, really not a thing. I'm just
Yeah,
saying that parents, people outside are at the park are really respectful because they just want their kids to be kids.
right. Exactly.
This pandemic.
I know. What? I don't know. We're okay. Sorry
Hi,
about that.
Sammy.
She said hi. It's Jade. Yeah. Jeez. Sorry. But anyway, he was just telling me he's getting ready to go work out.
I wish Jess would do something sweet for me like he did for Josh.
Get out of here.
Tell him to go work out. Get out of here.
Go work out.
Funny story about Sammy was that at a Toronto show that I met him at, he said to me, he's like, "Oh, did you are you the same Jade that worked the war shows in Ohio?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah." Like I was like stunned, right?
Yeah.
Like, "Yeah, I used to watch you in the crowd when I was a kid." I was like, "Oh my God, I feel so old."
What?
Yeah.
That's so funny.
I laughed. I'm like, "Man, am I that old?"
You're not. You're not though, right?
I'm not. I'm not.
No.
But I'm just like,
that's
oh my
so
God, just because I
funny.
haven't heard that, you know, like you
Yeah.
hear it a lot with like, even I say it, oh, I used to watch when I was a kid, blah, blah, blah. But like to hear that about yourself,
Right.
I laughed. I laughed a lot that night.
That's so funny.
But going back, okay, so how would you respond to those who would say anything negative to you? Are you like right now, are you okay? And I know you say you're not on Twitter because of that. Are there people who are like that still like on your Instagram?
I mean, yeah, there are still people. I get a fairly decent amount of comments about my image, and my body weight and stuff like that. And I honestly, I usually just don't respond at all. But if I do respond, I try to, the rules that I have anytime, because I'm a person who doesn't really like confrontation at all.
Mhm.
But if I am going to have a conversation or a confrontation with someone, I have a few set rules for myself when I'm talking to this person. I never want to, I refrain from any swearing. I do not call them any names outside of their own.
Mhm.
And I try to be at a calm tone, or try to appear at least neutral, like if I'm responding via text or something. But like
Mhm.
I try, just so, for a few reasons. Like I feel like if you're screaming and yelling at someone, or if you're in all caps cussing somebody out, and
Mhm.
like it could look bad for you. And I think that with our public, it's all only audio. Sammy, you're ruining my answer.
Put me over.
Get out of here. This is about mental health. Go work out. Go on and get. Anyway, so if I respond, I think that with us being in the public eye and being viewed as public figures, and being like, especially being contracted at Impact Wrestling, I look at it as I'm representing this company, even when I'm not on TV or at a show.
Mhm.
My social media says Impact Wrestling Knockout. It has all of my social media information, is, because I also, like, the only platforms I really use on social media is Instagram and Twitch.
Mhm.
And anything I post from Instagram or Twitch goes straight to Twitter. So I don't really, unless somebody needs me to retweet something, or I'm told to go check out, like, or retweet something on Twitter. I don't know. Just
Mhm.
unless I'm told to go to the app, I'm not opening it.
Yeah.
So if I do address it, I just try to politely inform them that, you know, everybody's bodies are different. And if you honestly don't like, what you're looking at, you don't have to. You could block me. You could unfollow, because a lot of these people follow me too. Like, I'll go to their profile if I ever, click on their profile and just see, like, who is this? It'll say follows you, and it's like, well, then if you feel this way, why are you following me?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and I just politely tell them, hey, no one's keeping you here. Like,
Mhm.
you don't have to be here. I'm a big advocate for people loving who they are, even if it's not what
Society.
what society's deems normal.
Yeah.
But I also do believe that health is very important as well. By no means do I don't promote obesity as something that, like, people should. Yes, but okay, this could be a little controversial, but there's a ton of women that I see online, or public figures, or people that I know that are obese, but they're still beautiful, and they
Mhm.
could still be confident. And, and like, I think it's amazing to see someone who doesn't fit like the typical beauty standard, being confident and thriving, but it doesn't necessarily mean that that's healthy.
Mhm.
Like, I'm a big advocate for, you should put your health first.
Yeah.
And obviously we know obesity is not healthy. And so, but with my body type being as tall as I am and just being a bigger person, I'm not, my BMI is not going to match up with what the chart would say. Like if I got to a healthy weight, it would still, I'm still going to be over 200 pounds, even at a healthy weight. Yeah. But my BMI would still tell me, oh, well, you're still morbidly obese, but it's just because they're going by this one thing that like that there's the thing with this chart is that it doesn't work for everybody because nobody's the same. So it's, and the way I am too is, like I'm actually starting back up on my diet again, being more strict. I'm already down 5 pounds. So I'm feeling pretty happy about that.
Yeah.
Thank you. But like, I think it's really important to go based off of how you physically feel, rather than what the number is on the scale. Like when I'm dropping weight and stuff, I'm paying less attention to the number and more on, okay, my knees are less painful. My joints don't hurt as bad. I'm moving better. I'm more comfortable in my own skin type of thing. Like I'm trying to go based off of how I physically and mentally feel, after getting a good workout and like staying on course for a diet and things like that, rather than obsessing about this certain number that I'm trying to reach.
Yes, absolutely.
And I think that's something important too, because, they say that, like, I don't know, like most of, like when I was watching wrestling, most of the women were probably, barely 100 pounds, maybe 110 pounds. And they're, teeny tiny things. And it's like, okay, well, everybody needs to be at this weight. Well, a girl who's 5'4" and 110 pounds, a girl who's 5'10" can't healthily be 110 pounds. Like it doesn't work like that because our bodies are different. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. I'm sorry. I keep going off on these tangents.
No, that's no, you're absolutely right. I meant to ask you, what year did you start training?
I started training in 2003.
Okay. So what I was thinking, because of what your trainer had thought, your body should look like, we got to look at the era that wrestling was in at the time.
Exactly.
And you look at their roster and it's all like cookie cutter, Barbie, big boobs, a certain hair color. You got to look like that. And it sucks because right there, that's society. Right.
Yep.
And with me, because I don't have big boobs at all. Going into wrestling, like I was self-conscious about showing. I'm not showing, sorry, that sounds really odd. Just about just wearing just my choice of clothes, because I knew that people did say, oh, like she doesn't have big boobs. And those were the comments that I was getting. And it was just ridiculous. Like people will find something. People will find something.
Exactly.
And that is why that we got to try to not focus on or listen to what people say, because again, people are just, they might be fighting their own demons of some sort. And this is just their way, or maybe it's the way that they were brought up. I don't know. Like I see it. If I see a comment, like even I get defensive with like Josh,
Yeah.
Like I'm not in the spotlight, but Josh is. So if there's anything negative to say, I bite my tongue a lot. And I'm a very vocal person, because I believe that people, just like I believe that if you're being a good person, like I want you to know. Okay.
Sure.
But also, if you're being a dickhead, like something where you seriously need to learn, you need to learn to be kind. Like I will have no problem schooling that person.
I love that.
Like, it's just uncalled for. I'm just sick. I'm sick of how ugly people can be,
Yes.
like behind the computer, behind their phone or whatever. I'm sick of it.
Yeah.
Because
I'm right there with you.
yeah, on many occasions, you bring it up to their face and they back off.
Oh yeah.
And then it's weird, and then it's something that clicks in for them, and they're like, "Oh, I didn't mean to," and stuff like that.
Right.
Be again, like, why does it have to? Why does I don't know. I don't know. I get really, really worked up about.
I'm right there with you, and a lot of times I have to bite my tongue too.
Mhm.
I just feel like people. Okay, so tragic, tragic events will happen for people. Okay, so I don't know if you remember hearing about. This has not been that long ago. 2 years, if that. I don't even know if it's been that long. When that Joshi wrestler Hana Kimura, who was so young,
Yep.
and she ended her own life because of a bully on social media.
Mhm.
And I remember everyone talking about we all need to be good to each other. We need to do this. This could really, it takes this tragic event to bring so many people together. But I just feel like so many people, they just fall back into their bullshit ways. And then the stuff just started over again.
Yep.
And I see more hate online than anything anymore. And that's why I don't like social media.
Mhm.
I like Twitch and I like Instagram because I can control what people are saying there.
Mhm.
And if there's something that I don't want to look at, I don't have to. I could just, hide it, mute it,
Yeah.
block, whatever.
Mhm.
But what I was going to say earlier too is that if you are unhappy if you're a person who's getting, the first thing you do when you wake up is get on Instagram, and you're
Mhm.
scrolling through and you're seeing things that are making you feel sad or jealous or um just like any kind of a negative feeling that is going to make you uh feel upset or angry or sad for the rest of the day, it
Mhm.
is important that you eliminate on your feed whatever it is that is upsetting you. I will go
Yes.
ahead and say this. When I first got let go from TNA, it was because Dixie Carter she didn't like who I was. She didn't get my character. I didn't look like her words. Why does she look like that? Why doesn't she look like one of my knockouts? Or why doesn't she look like my knockouts? Well,
Wow.
I'm here to destroy your knockouts, okay? But you don't get wrestling, so it is what it is. But where was I going with this? So when I was first in Impact, Dixie didn't like me. And when I first lost my job, there were a few acquaintances that I followed on Instagram who had gotten a job with TNA after I was let go.
Mhm.
And even though I loved these people so much and were friendly with them and just, have no issues whatsoever, them posting, at tapings with X, Y, and Z and posting the catering for the day at Impact. I was starting, and I'm not too proud to admit that it was my own feeling sorry for myself and being jealous because I wasn't there with them and didn't seem fair to me. And
Mhm.
so I would start to resent these people who I had no reason otherwise. And it was because they were at a place where I wanted to be. And I felt that I was wrongfully dismissed and I wanted to be there with them. So I had to mute people on social media so that and I don't know if that sounds bad, but I just, these are steps that I had to take for a little while
Mhm.
until I got my confidence and my who I was back
Yep.
mentally. I needed to get back into my mental state of a healthy mental state before I could look at these things again, because I was realizing that this was making me feel bad. And I was upset throughout the day, and I was feeling, just angry and constantly like, this isn't fair. Why? And, I felt that just not having to look at those things for a little while until I got back to that healthy mindset, it did help me. And I don't know if that makes me sound bad.
No, it doesn't. It shows that you realize enough to take care of your own mental health, and you knew what it took to make you happy, or to, not make you feel this crummy feeling.
Right.
So you did what you had to do, just in order to, how do I say it? Like, I want to say that in order to get, I don't want to call it like a hump. I was going to say in order to get over this hump, or was it, that you needed that bit of a closure on your own to end that TNA chapter of your life.
Right.
And those were the steps that you had to take in order to get over that, and to move on and continue and focus on your wrestling.
Right. And that's honestly the best way to put it, is just, just getting through that little patch there, until I was able to
feel like yourself again.
Yeah. And just like, be like, okay, like, I'm feeling more like me. And like, now I can recognize that, I can get back to this. And it just, sometimes the road for everyone is a little different. And I'm fully aware. I mean, any of us who've been in the wrestling business for any amount of time knows, I mean, you quickly learn that wrestling owes us nothing, and it's a very, very unforgiving business. So, and even through all of that, we still choose to stay. And so, I mean, we're the ones who pick these jobs, but I just wish that people on the outside knew. I don't want every single person who bullies or body shames or shaming of any kind. I don't want every single one of them to have to go through something so horrible to understand that what they're doing can affect someone like much, much more deeply than they intend. Because a lot of times they're just talking shit online. They don't realize,
how impactful that the words are.
And we have to keep going through these stupid, like, situations where someone takes their own life, or, someone gets, just has to end up going to therapy, or not, just cutting everyone off and not dealing with anyone anymore. Like, people have to make drastic changes and feel like they have to like isolate themselves from the rest of the world just because people are treating them crappy. And like, and people say too, like, oh, well, people don't learn until they actually go through it. And it's like, I guess we learn through experience, but there really has to be another way, because there's just far too much of it going on. And I don't know. I just worry in general about the up and coming generation.
Yeah.
And because when I first started wrestling, I didn't have a GPS on my phone. I freaking would print the MapQuest, print it out on a paper, and then try to reverse go back. Like,
Oh yeah.
So like, I'm just like, these kids today don't know how good they have it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And then like, okay, so 15 miles to this, and then like looking at your odometer and like counting it out. Okay, so I should really like pay attention when it gets to this number. Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh.
They don't know how good it is.
Oh yeah. They have no idea.
Can I just point out how mentally strong you were to go through all that training, to find out through your trainer how he purposely had the other trainees, I don't want to say like beat you up, but like
That's what they did though.
oh,
They did. Like it was so that because my mom she would once in a while sit in on practice, and she eventually was like, I can't do this because it's making me angry how rough they are with you. And I'm like, it's just wrestling. But no, like yeah, they beat me up. But anyway, I'm sorry. I didn't mean
no,
to interrupt.
yeah, like they beat you up, and they beat you up in front of your mom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you still stuck through, you still did it. For females back then, it's definitely not what it is today. You know, there was zero respect for women back then. If you were a woman getting into the business, there was a lot of things that you'd have to really impress people with. You know, it was just a lot harder. It was a lot harder. And for you to like stick through it, and especially with training, because it can get to that point. Like I have heard where some of the people are a little stiff, a little snug with the girls just because they want to see if if they can man up and stuff like that.
Right.
Like it's shitty. And you know what? You powered through, and amazing. I honestly, I don't know how. I don't know how you weren't mentally beat down from that.
Thinking
That's
back
how
on
strong
it,
you are, Jess. Like I cannot believe it.
thank you. I appreciate that. I really don't take stuff like that into consideration because I don't know. Like I just, it's not till I talk about this stuff that it kind of puts everything into perspective and I feel like that's like that for anybody.
Yeah.
Like and it goes back to the whole, you really don't know like who you can affect positively or negatively, because there was a time in my career, because again, wrestling is so like just unforgiving. Like I've wanted to quit probably a dozen times and I would constantly cry like to myself in my room or whatever, and just beat myself up and be like, what do I have to do? Like, because I would see people who I knew were just jerks, like getting further than me and quicker and like doing everything. And I'm just like, I don't get it. Like, but I can't bring myself to quote unquote play the game. I'm not someone who politics for things, and I can't be that person because I can't look at myself in the mirror if I just can't do it. So I would rather just be happy with who I'm looking at in the mirror, and at the end of the day, and know, because there have been times where I've cried about, like this is all for nothing. Like I had my WWE opportunity taken away from me because trolls online, a little group of trolls photoshopped a tweet to make me look at like somebody who I'm not, and stole a WWE contract from me. And I literally wanted to give up. And this is probably 15, no, maybe 13, 14 years in. I wanted to give up. And like, I just said, what's the point? Like, this is like basically almost 15 years of my life, all for nothing. And, but then I get these messages from people that are like, I just want to let you know that your weight loss journey has inspired me. And I was really close to, like, there was one guy that he emailed me out of the blue and was like, I just want to let you know that I was inspired by your weight loss journey and who you are. And I've recently, I just lost 100 pounds, and and it's because of you. And like,
oh,
if you wouldn't if I wouldn't have found you or been inspired by you, I could very well be dead. Like, and I've had the pleasure of reading several messages like that from men and women and kids, and like, and it kind of puts things into perspective. Like, okay, well, I guess this wasn't all for nothing, because if I've impacted even one person, I think that's significant. And it's things that I need to remind myself when I'm starting to feel bad or like I'm owed something, because I don't know. It's just crazy.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to think of it most times, but you can't always think of the negatives. Try to think of the positive out of something. And with you saying the WWE thing didn't work out. So I'm sure your mindset was just like 15 years of wrestling, just all down the drain. Like I worked for this. And then that one email, just, you forget that you see the negative of wrestling, right? You see the negative in people, the ugliness in people, but the ugliness of that is just so strong in society that we tend to forget of the quiet ones who are watching, who don't, tweet out nasty stuff, but they're watching and they're doing their own battles while you're inspiring them. Right. So we tend to forget about those people. And it's hard. Like, I'm so glad you said that. And it's it's such a like feel good story.
Yeah.
So, and I'm sorry that happened to you with the WWE thing. That's awful for someone to ruin someone's career,
Yeah. And I thought that it was something that I wouldn't be able to come back from it. Like, even though I had the proof that this isn't who I am. And like, I had proof of the people laughing about making the fake tweet and how and what's crazy is they're like young, like probably between 17 to like 21, and they're like laughing about costing me literally, that's a life-changing opportunity. And I personally believe, with everything that I had been through and gone through up until now, and even up until then, I honestly believed that I deserved to be there. And I really did put in the work, and I wasn't somebody I was never a person who slept around to get to where I needed to be. I worked hard. I contacted companies. I did these long drives. I took the hot dog and the handshake, and like just what was really just scraping by. And then to have it all taken away from a fake, this is the stuff that I don't like about social media. I see where it could benefit, but there's a lot of ugly. And social media is ruining a lot of people's lives. And a lot of now, some people are pieces of shit and they do need to be called out. But what I don't like about social media now is it's like you're guilty until you're proven innocent. And then even if you're proven innocent, your apology is not good enough. And that's the types of things that I don't like, because that's not fair. Now we're just going off of somebody's word rather than proof, or, and things like that. And I just hate that I was painted as this person that I never in a million years have been or would be. And it really did affect me for a few years. And I feel bad for Sammy too, because he stuck with me through it, but I mean, I wasn't happy and I hated myself. So he can't have been happy. And, it took a lot. And then when I finally got my wake up call and just was like, okay, you know what? Shit happens. It is what it is. These these fucking jerks took this opportunity from you, but now you can pick yourself up, dust yourself off, stop feeling sorry for yourself, and go keep doing what you're doing, because the haters, they want you to quit.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, they're not happy. Once they get what they want, oh, okay, that person's canceled. Who can we mess with next? That they're never happy. This is what they thrive off of. And until they learn to mature and realize that, or until it happens to one of them, like they just don't realize the severity of the situation. And like I said, person can be completely innocent and it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Like I said, mentally strong. Holy jeez. Like,
and I don't know how. I really don't know how. I can tell you that I have cried a lot, but it still doesn't change how I view people. Because overall, like I don't go off of other people's words about people. Like if I go based off of my experience with that person. Like, if there's a few different girls in wrestling that a majority of girls do not like. And they're like, oh, I don't like her because this, and this, and she does this. And I'm like, I'm really sorry you feel that way, but she has only ever been respectful to me. So I'm not going to treat her badly because you're telling me to, because of what, I just think that you should honestly everybody should be respectful of one another. And I don't believe in going on judging someone based off of what someone else is saying.
Yeah. Yeah. Because then it just becomes like a hearsay thing, right? And then the whole telephone game thing. And
yeah. And it's
totally
funny because people would always be like, that's so high school. And it's like, actually, like, adulthood is worse than high school for some of you. Like, this is worse than high school. I didn't even have to deal with this in high school. Like, I don't know.
How did you cope? Like, so let's say with the WWE thing, did you have a best friend that you talked to, or was it just Sammy that you talked to all the time? What helped you get through that?
So when all of that went down, I mean, obviously, like, Sammy is my best friend, and like, but I felt bad because at the time that this stuff happened, he was at NXT. And so, like, I didn't want to burden him with, he's at NXT and, he's at work, and then he comes home and then I'm on the couch crying because, whatever, because this shit happened. And like, so this is like, I mean, I don't mind talking about it. So I'll just say, I feel like that's when I developed a little bit of alcoholism. Like, I feel like I was, the only way I could deal with getting through the day is if I had to be drunk. Like, I just, and it was like quite a few days during the week. It wasn't like all the time, but it was enough. And I've never been that person, but I just anything to like make me forget about, like, just the shit that people were saying online. Yeah. One thing that I did have to do so that I could, like, because I always like got angry when I heard about people committing suicide, because I always thought that's so selfish and like this and that, and you're taking yourself away from everyone who cares about you. But I didn't after going through certain things, I absolutely understand. I shouldn't say I understand. I could see where someone would want to take their own life. And that's scary to me that I reached such a depth that I even thought that, because I'm not that person. I would never be. Yeah. I don't know. I stronger than that, but I was starting to see, like, man, I could really understand why someone would feel this way. And I I deleted all my social media apps off my phone
Mhm.
because I just figured out of sight, out of mind.
Mhm.
I don't even want to like see what people are saying because I already know it's going to hurt me. And these things that are being said about me are so far from the truth. And it just sucks that no matter what, someone in the world is going to think that I'm this person. And
Mhm.
it sucks because I'm not. And I don't know what I could do to prove otherwise, other than pick myself up and just keep going. And that's exactly what I've done. And I will say, being at Impact and being surrounded by the roster that we have, it has helped. And I could not be happier with where my career is right now. I love working at Impact Wrestling. I'm so grateful that they gave me another opportunity and are letting me be who I am. And I get to be on TV every week, even during a crazy time like this.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I've definitely I've been through a lot of shit, which we all have, but I can at least recognize the things that I definitely I'm grateful for, like
Mhm.
a job, my bills are paid. I get to be that escape weekly on TV for other people who can't deal with, who might have had a bad day at work or who can't deal with the news. And we are their escape. And
Mhm.
that I feel like makes me feel good about what we're doing. And I couldn't be happier to be at Impact. So I guess everything happens for a reason, but
Yeah.
I mean, it sucks that when things do happen, but I really, really feel like these things are thrown at us because we just have to prove that we can handle it and get through it. And then we come out stronger on the other end.
Absolutely. Like, I'm amazed. I'm amazed by you.
Oh.
Like,
Thank you.
amazing stories. You're such a strong woman
Thank you.
to go through all these things and to come out pretty much a superhero. You like, legit, you're your own superhero. I mean, just to come out and realize all that, you're fighting to live your life.
Yes.
And you're doing it the way that you want, and that's the best, right?
Yes.
Okay, I want to take a little break. Let's play some games.
Okay.
This one is called This or That. I'm going to name two things and you choose this or that. Book smart or street smart?
I think street smart.
Yeah, I would choose the same. Watching movies or listening to music?
Ooh. I think listening to music.
Yeah.
I also love movies, but listening to music.
Who's your favorite? Like, is it a band or just an artist?
My favorite band is AFI.
Yes.
And that's actually where I got Havok from, because the lead singer is Davey Havok. And I've actually been calling myself Jessicka Havok since the 9th grade because
oh my
that's what I
gosh,
got.
really?
Yes.
Oh.
So I'm such a nerd, but oh well.
I love that.
Thank you.
That's so sweet. Aw.
And I actually got to meet Davey Havok on my 31st birthday.
Get
Sammy
outta
set it
here.
up and it was
Aw.
awesome. Yes, it was great. So I got to meet my freaking idol.
See, there, you just put Sammy over. So there, he can shut up for the night.
That's right. He can shut his mouth.
Okay, the third one, sleep on the left or right side of the bed?
I sleep on the right side.
See, with me, there's like this thing, right? There's what is it called? It's like yin and yang thing for me.
Yes.
And I think from what I read is that the female should always be on the right side of the bed.
Huh.
Could just be me. I could be crazy, but
well, hey, it checks out with me. So we can just be crazy together, I guess.
Perfect. Okay, would you rather a zombie outbreak or an alien invasion?
I think I would rather a zombie outbreak so I could bust out all my dope weapons that I have around my house.
I was gonna say you'd be set for either or.
Yes, but I think the more realistic thing is an alien invasion. But I out of the two, I would say with my personal interest in history, I would say definitely a zombie outbreak.
Yeah. And what gaming systems do you have?
I have a PlayStation 5 and a PC, like a gaming PC.
Okay. So would you rather your PS5 or your PC?
PS5.
Yeah.
No question.
What do you play on your computer?
So I have a few of the same games on the computer as I do the PS5, but on PC, there's a zombie game called State of Decay that you can only play on PC or Xbox, and I refuse to have an Xbox in my house.
Oh.
So I've been team PlayStation for ever since I was a kid. So
yeah.
Yeah. And plus PlayStation has a lot better exclusives than the Xbox does as far as games go. So,
and then so you game on Twitch, right?
yes.
Are you mainly on the PS5 for that?
Yeah, mainly I always tell people I'm primarily on my PS5, but I do have a few like days during the month where it's like we're focusing on PC games and stuff. The game that I've been playing lately is called Fallout 76, and it's a post-apocalyptic type game. No zombies, but lots of radiation and mutated humans and all this other stuff. So but like it's the first Fallout game of the series that is online and multiplayer, so you could play with other people. And it's just a really cool concept. But I've been playing that on PC and PS5. Just because I have with my Twitch channel, I have within my community, I only have so many people that are on PS5, and then it seems like a lot more people are on PC. So when I do play with people, I have to figure out like, okay, who am I going to play with today? My PlayStation people or my PC people?
Really? So it's
Yes.
like so PC is like a popular thing now?
Oh
Like
yeah,
there's a comeback?
Yeah, like I can't believe how many people give me shit for not playing my PC more. Like, and people like it's the cool thing to have like you build your own gaming PC, and like, you know, like basically everybody talks about, oh, gosh, I can't remember what it is, but when they get on their PC talks in my chat, like for Twitch, I'm like, I have no idea what you guys are talking about. I just know that I have a really nice gaming PC and I play games on it sometimes. And it's great.
That's wild. I didn't realize how popular the PC gaming was, like, again.
Yeah, I don't know when it made its comeback, but now I'm like made to feel stupid if I'm not using it. So, like, whatever. PS5 is where it's at.
And you say your current game right now is Fallout?
Yeah, Fallout 76. And then here in a few days, Resident Evil 8 is coming out, and it's going to be dope. And I'm going to cosplay as the main villain woman while I play it. So I'm excited.
Oh my goodness. Eh? That's awesome. I want to move on to another game. This one's my favorite because it tells me what era that my guest likes of wrestling. Okay. It's called Rapid Fire. I'm going to name off a simple move, and you're just going to name the first wrestler that pops in your head.
Okay. I'll do my best.
Okay. The first move is drop kick.
Oh, shit. Like 80 people just popped in my head.
Who's got the prettiest one, in your opinion?
Oh my God, this is so difficult for me to answer. Because when I was younger, there was someone who threw the best drop kicks, and I can't think of who it is right now. Damn it. Let me see, because I seriously do need to think of, because there was somebody that I remember, and I could have been when I first started wrestling. Oh my God, it's funny because Randy Orton pops up, and he actually did have a good drop kick, but
Yeah.
that can't be who I'm thinking about. I don't know why. Was it Dolph Ziggler? It is Dolph Ziggler, because I remembered being amazed that he could literally just from a standing position drop kick someone directly in their face without even having to go on the run or anything. So I think that's who I was thinking of.
Okay, perfect.
Dolph Ziggler.
Okay, super kick.
Shawn Michaels.
Mm-hmm. Choke slam.
Undertaker.
DDT.
Jake the Snake.
German suplex.
I have to think for a second on this one. Why can't I think? I feel like Kurt Angle threw every amazing suplex. So I think for German suplex, I'm going to say Kurt Angle.
Beautiful. Moonsault.
Lita.
Yeah. And yes. Power bomb.
Power bomb. I think of the Undertaker again.
Yeah.
But there's got to be better ones.
Who was your favorite wrestler growing up?
Well, my favorite wrestler growing up was like, as far as the guys, like I loved Stone Cold. I thought he was the coolest.
Mm-hmm.
But like as far as the women, I loved Jazz, Luna Vachon, Ivory,
Mm-hmm.
Molly Holly.
Yeah. So how was it like being able to work with Jazz then?
So funny story. She was okay. So Luna, Ivory, and Jazz is who I watched the most.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was about 2.5 years in, I got to wrestle Luna Vachon. And it was the scariest, most probably horrible experience I've ever had, because she beat the shit out of me.
Oh no.
Yes, like it was bad. But like I feel grateful for the experience, because I was like, dude, if I can handle that ass kicking, I can handle anything in wrestling.
Damn.
And then 2 years later, I got to wrestle Ivory at the Canton Civic Center in Canton, Ohio. And I remember my trainer told her, you're going up, whatever. And she's like, hell no, I'm putting her over because I'm on my way out of here. Like, this was during the time of Hurricane Katrina and stuff. And the reason I remember that is because all of her proceeds from her merch, from our booking, she was flying straight to New Orleans to donate money and help with animal shelter stuff.
Aww.
So that I remember that vividly. So I always told Jazz, and I met Jazz years ago, and I joked that she was my wrestling mommy.
Yeah.
But like I used to tell her, you're not allowed to retire until you and I wrestle, because you'll complete my trifecta of my idols.
Oh my gosh.
And she'd be like, girl, no, you're going to kill me, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then, so I heard that she'd retired, and I was really bummed out about it. And then, so when she just did this last run at Impact, the fact that I got to be in the ring with her, I was like, it was the best thing ever. I will say that once I got to the back, I definitely cried a little bit, just a little bit. Oh my
goodness.
But it was awesome.
I have a big smile. That's so cool.
It was great.
I love that. I love that story. Oh my goodness. I want to touch on one last thing for mental health. Are there any other issues that you dealt with or are currently dealing with?
I definitely deal with a bit of depression, and that's something that, like, even if I'm having good days, like we all know that you can't really control depression. It just kind of pops up. And I just try to do my best, like, to vocalize to Sammy, like when I am feeling depressed and, and stuff like that. Cause again, like we were saying earlier, like communication is so important. I deal with anxiety as well. that I don't know where it developed, or when, but I realized probably about 2 years before even the pandemic. So what, like 3 years ago, I would start getting, anxiety, when we would get closer to the venue for wrestling. And I would have to go through this, like, once I got to the building, I would have to like try to sneak past everybody and not say hi to anybody and try to like calm myself down in the locker room before, just because like I would feel too overwhelmed. And I don't really know when that started or why. But it was like, and I don't know what they call that, like some type of social anxiety maybe, or something. But overall, I'm a very social person, so it was definitely a weird thing for me. And I don't know if it has to do with having to see fans or what, because I don't quite get that type of anxiety with closed set impact tapings. And I don't feel as overwhelmed right now. So I don't know if that was it or what, but when I would first get to the building, I wouldn't be able to like talk to peers or anybody. Like I would do my best to try to like stay small and sneak past everybody and try to get in a proper headspace, because I didn't want to come off rude or weird or whatever. So, so it's like definitely depression and definitely anxiety. And, of course we touched on the body dysmorphia and just like, and I do still struggle a bit with my eating habits, like, because eating disorders come in all different types of ways. Like it's not just starving yourself or binging and purging. It's also, I mean, definitely, I think a lot of it is like an emotional thing for me. Because when we were kids, my mom, she was pretty much a single mother, even though my parents were married till I was 13. My dad wasn't really in the picture a whole lot. So she worked full time and she took care of me and my two brothers. And so I'm sure she was overwhelmed. And anytime we were upset, I mean, she would be like, oh, here, I'll get you a Happy Meal, or, here's a Lunchable, whatever. So I feel like I look to food sometimes for that comfort. If I'm feeling sad or depressed, it's like, oh, well, I feel depressed today, so it's okay if I eat 3 slices of pizza. And it's like, that's not a healthy mindset to have. I think that, and for the most part, I've been able to control that, especially the last few years, for the most part. I just think that a lot of, and I see this a lot in young ladies too, but like everybody can go through this, but just like you have to develop a good relationship with food. It's very, very important. And like, I don't know, like those are just some of the things. A lot of my stuff has basically been with like body image and just depression and things like that. So
so how would you you were saying you would get anxiety right before showing up to the venue. How did you bring yourself down from that in order to go through the curtain and perform? Did you still have a bit of anxiety while you were out there wrestling?
So what I would do, like when I first got to the building, if I would be able to successfully evade everybody, I'd get to the locker room and then go put my bag where it needed. And then I always had my headphones and stuff. So I would go to the bathroom and then just kind of like take some deep breaths and just look in the mirror and listen to AFI or just listen to music and just kind of calm down and then be like, okay, you know what? You're good. Like you've been doing this forever. And like once I would start to unwind that way, then I'd be ready to be like, okay, I'm going to go say hi to people now and try not to be a fucking weirdo and like be all awkward. And then by the time the show started, I would be over it. And I would always get that nervous, super nervous anxiety right before my music hits, But as soon as I'm out the curtain, it's like all of that's just gone anyway. And it's like, I'm no longer Jessicka. Now I'm Havok.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's adrenaline's taking over, and
Yeah.
it's like a completely different person. So I usually honestly just music and I guess somewhat meditating kind of helps a little bit.
Yeah. Wow, that's I- I want listeners to know that everyone's coping mechanisms are different. So it's basically like whatever, would you say it's just whatever gives you comfort?
Yeah. And everybody's different too. So,
Mhm.
my thing is like just getting to the core of trying to, when you start to feel the anxiety or the depression, I've learned to try to be like, okay, in this moment, what triggered this?
Mhm.
And try to like just kind of pay more attention to
Mhm.
what when you switch from being okay to not. And
Yeah.
then figure out what you need to do to make sure or minimize that happening again. Like obviously you're not going to be able to eliminate that, and depression at the end of the day is depression.
Right.
And so I don't know. And I'm sorry if I'm talking in circles.
No, no, no. Don't be sorry. I want to bring it back to body dysmorphia because I feel like there's not enough awareness around it. Can you explain to us what body dysmorphia is?
So what body dysmorphia is to me is, and like this is at least what I've experienced is, like I said earlier, I went from not thinking that there was anything wrong with the way I looked to all of a sudden being told I was overweight and needed to change every bit of who I am in order to be accepted in this world. So what it is to me is like, even when I make huge progress, like when I first dropped my first 50 pounds, even though my clothes were fitting differently,
Mhm.
and like I felt more comfortable in my clothes, and like just more comfortable even sitting on the couch or laying down to go to sleep or working out or walking up and down stairs, like everything felt good. But when I looked at myself in the mirror, instead of appreciating the progress that I'd made,
Mhm.
I was looking at, well, my stomach is still like, I still have this pouch, and my legs are still too wide, and like I have cellulite back here still, and now I have this
Mhm.
stretch mark. And it's like you no matter what the progress you're making, and no matter how healthy you're feeling,
Mhm.
it's not being able to see because of the things that people have said to me in the past,
Yeah.
just being, just saying that I'm fat or ugly, and
Mhm.
I've even been called manly before and whatever, just because of my height and stuff, and like,
Mhm.
whatever. But it's um like even if the scale says, hey, you weigh 53 pounds less and everything, is fitting better and whatever, it's like you can't see past like these imperfections that are in your eyes. Because if I would notice, even when I lost all that weight, like I would be like, I had like, this looks bad, whatever. And people would be like, you are insane. You look great. Like,
Mhm.
I don't even see that. Like, that doesn't even look bad. Like, what are you talking about? Cellulite? Like, and it's like, what are you talking about? It's right here. I see it. But it's like,
Yeah.
we still only want to see our imperfections, and we're not appreciating the good that
Mhm.
we've done for ourselves. And that to me is kind of body morphia for me.
Yeah.
And I've talked to plenty of women and men in this business who are my peers who
Mhm.
suffer from body dysmorphia as well. Like Candice LeRae has always been a super tiny in shape girl, and she has it. And it
Mhm.
blows my mind, because it's like, you're just this tiny little thing. And it's like, you're grabbing at your stomach saying that you feel fat when you have abs. Like, and that's the type of stuff that breaks my heart. And it's like, and it's because of things that people have said to her.
Yeah.
And like, and like one of my friends in wrestling is Eddie Kingston, and me and Eddie Kingston had a conversation at an AAW show one time, like in the back, about like he suffers from it too. Like it affects all of us. Like
Yep.
anybody who's in entertainment and under the public eye.
And I could say this because he has said this in public before, but Josh goes through the same thing too. It's not all the time, but like he looks amazing. He looked amazing before to me. And even so, like he says, oh, do I look okay? Like, did I lose it here? Cause I really don't feel it. I don't see it.
Yeah. See.
And I need to stop this reaction but it blows my mind each time. And I don't want to say that I keep forgetting that he has body dysmorphia, but it just blows my mind. And it's just like how you were explaining about Candace, that we see like what you worked on and how far you've come. But for you guys see like what you had before and those big hurdle and big struggle that you had on certain parts of your bodies. I think that's something that you'll always see. Is that correct? Or am I just
No, that I think you hit the nail right on the head there. And it's funny that not funny, but in a manner of speaking, Sammy is the same way as Josh would be about, like, because Sammy's been doing great too. And like, he's getting back in shape that he's happy and stuff like that. And Sammy used to be 350 pounds when he was really young. So I feel like because he used to be bigger, even though he's made such amazing progress and like has overcome so much that a normal person wouldn't be able to, I feel it's just crazy to me that he doesn't see how successful he's become. And like I would go as far as to say, when he says, do I look okay? Or I feel like that's like I get, my first reaction is I get pissed off at him. Like, what are you talking about? And that's actually, that's not a proper response. And that's something that I myself need to work on, because sometimes we just as human beings need reassurance. But
and that's how exactly how I react at times too. And that's what I was saying. Like I need to really like,
I wondered
stop and
if
think
it was
about
like,
it.
because if that's the case, I know exactly where you're coming from. But at least we could recognize that maybe that's not the best way to go. But it's like, we just want them to see, like, you're killing it. Are you kidding? Like, how can you not see this? Yep. So
I just killed it.
Sammy just killed it, he said. But yeah, like it's okay, Sammy, stop. Now he's just cutting up. No, but I would definitely, the way you described it, it makes perfect sense. But yeah, like, and who knows? Like, I feel like a lot of, I know that I didn't, like I said before, I didn't have any of my issues with my body until I started wrestling. So I'm sure, just that because at the end of the day, even though wrestling is much more accepting of many different people of shapes and sizes, like it is still a cosmetic business. And you, like, to an extent, and you still do. I mean, if you're going to be like, the way I look at it is, yes, I'm a bigger person, and no, I'm not in the best shape that I'd like to be right now, but I am working on that. And I do believe that I'll get there. But like right now, like, I'm just like, you know what? It is what it is. You are who you are. And my goal for me as a bigger girl in wrestling is to just show them why I am, like, who I am in the ring. And actually at a Impact show, like a smaller, like, house show thing we did, Josh and Ethan were in the back. I wrestled Jordan and I came to the back, and then I asked them how the match was. And Josh was like, I remember him making a comment like, you move so fast for your size. Like, you're so athletic for your size. And I love to hear that, because I already know that people are going to address my size as it is. I know
Yeah.
it is obvious that I am much bigger than a lot of the girls that I wrestle, but it's kind of nice to be acknowledged as one of the bigger girls but hey, she can move. Like, she's an athlete. She can do this, all the same shit, and still look like a badass. And like, and even though I'm booked as this monster, like I still have to look presentable. And, we still have to have hair and makeup and stuff for TV and stuff like that. So it's just one of those things for me. It's like, even if I'm not happy with where I am right now, the thing is, it's like, okay, well, I'm not where I want to be, and I'll get there. So for now, what I am, I'm going to make this shit work.
Yeah.
And so that's what I try to do.
Well, you are succeeding, my friend, and you're freaking killing it. So whatever you're doing, you continue it. I love your attitude. I love your kindness of all. Yeah. Like I hope that, I don't know, I hope maybe talking about everything tonight helped you in any way to just, just to like say it out loud. And I don't know, it sounds stupid, but like maybe saying it to me, a person that you don't really converse with, but to get that opinion from someone else, you know what I mean? Like someone else that isn't like your BFF, or someone that you're so close to that you talk to all the time.
Right.
Just know that I think you're an amazing person. I will say that all freaking day. I think you are so mentally strong. I still can't believe all the stuff that you went through, and you're still standing, and you're standing fucking high and tall. So
thank you.
Amazing.
I appreciate it. And I, for what it's worth, like sitting here and having this conversation with you, it honestly has helped me. I do feel really good. When you asked me to do your podcast, I was so excited because I already adore you as a person. And so I just felt like it was just going to be really good. And I do think this went well. I feel like us talking about this very realistically, like I feel good knowing that this conversation is potentially going to help at least one person.
Yes.
I really feel that.
Me too. It's we touched like on so many things that I believe not too many people talk about, or even myself. Like I don't hear a lot of, people talking about like body image. And I was telling you before about body dysmorphia, not a lot of people talk about that. And I think that was very important to really bring up. Depression as well, and anxiety as well. It's nice to hear of, your coping mechanisms. And, you never know if that might help someone else, right?
Yes.
So, yeah. I want to do some questions on my Patreon. I allow them to send in some questions. So I picked 3 out for you.
Sounds good.
The first question is, as someone that suffers from mental health and body issues, what is some advice you would give to ladies that are being shamed for how they look?
I think that my biggest advice, especially for young ladies that are going through this particular thing, because like I said, I've gone through it since I was 17, is to do your best to, and I know it's easier said than done, just understand that these people that are shaming you, for whatever reason, they themselves are going through something and they are not happy with who they are. And try your best to not let the ugly things that they're saying to you affect who you are as a person. Because I believe that, like I said before, I just love people. And I think what makes us as human beings so special is that we are all individually so different. And you should accept who you are and love yourself. And the best thing you could do is just remind yourself that maybe they're going through something, and just do your best to be the healthiest, happiest you, and don't necessarily try not to focus on the negative. Um, try to focus on the positive. And if there's any way to eliminate the negative things from your life, whether it is muting somebody's posts or, whatever that is, like make these steps happen so that you could make things a little easier for you and it'll help you a little bit more mentally. It has for me. So
beautifully said. Shoot, I was going to highlight it on something you just said there. Sorry, Jess. I was
it's okay.
But then I was really listening to your voice. I just got lost in it.
Sorry.
Such a loser.
No, I love this.
Okay, maybe it'll come back to me after. The second question, do you have a favorite outfit or accessory that makes you feel amazing? I love that question.
I love that question.
Mm-hmm.
There is actually a vintage AFI t-shirt that I bought off of a secondhand website type. It's like Poshmark, but it's different, but it's a different type of app, but they, people resell their clothes or whatever.
Yeah.
But I found this like kind of oversized vintage AFI t-shirt that the girl kind of like cut up and made look really cute. And I bought that. And it's like my favorite shirt to wear when I'm home. And like I have 2 different pairs of leggings that I wear that are from a place called Do You Even? I feel really good. I feel like it holds everything in, I guess. But like, I like to wear that shirt with those leggings. And then like, honestly, like my favorite thing to wear is my hair extensions. When I do like new hair extensions before every set of TV tapings.
Do you I did not know
that. Yeah. I do my own, especially since COVID. I've had to kind of learn to do my own because I didn't know like what was safe to do because the guidelines changed so many times. And like, so imagine that. But like, the type of extensions that I use now are called micro bead. But I actually watched countless YouTube tutorials and I make them myself and then I put them in myself and I'm getting pretty good at it. But I have to say that like that oversized AFI t-shirt and those leggings, and then when I got my hair extensions in, I feel pretty fucking cool.
Awesome.
So that was probably a little more in depth than it needed to be, but
I love it. So then how long do you keep your extensions in for? Do you like take them out?
Always keep them in for as long as I can until they start to irritate me. But with me being a wrestler and then us, like I have multiple matches usually at taping, sometimes a couple in one day. I feel like obviously like if you're not a wrestler, like, and your hair's not getting all tussled around all the time and then teased in the hair and makeup chair, like the hair extensions could last 2 to 3 months, but I actually change mine every 3 to 4 weeks, depending on when tapings are.
Wow.
But with this new technique that I'm using with these extensions, I feel like I'll be able to keep them in for longer.
Damn.
Yeah, so it's still a process. And I also dye my own extensions. I've been dyeing my own hair since middle school though. So like I love hair dye.
Hey, that was one of our conversations in Chicago that I remembered.
Yeah.
I asked you, I'm such a nerd, but like, what's your most favorite color that you had in your hair?
So I really, really like the, I'm doing like a dark orange into like a light orange ombre. So it's like a fire ombre.
Yeah.
But I think my absolute favorite that I've had so far is like this blue color. It's like I don't know, like just.
Was it the blue? Because I think you had that blue in Chicago.
Yes.
I think you had that blue. Yeah.
And it was like,
blue.
Yeah, like I feel like blue, like cool colors in general look really, really good against pale skin. And I am very pale. So, but I like, and I also love, I'm not partial to that lime green, like that toxic
Yeah.
laced green. Ooh, I love it.
Mhm.
But lately it's been orange.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember what I was going to say. You mentioned the type of day that that person could be going through.
Yes.
With me, if someone is being crusty, I always give them the benefit of the doubt. So I'll be nice back, but it's like kind of like this is your one and only chance. And if they come at me
Absolutely.
again the second time, the same way, the same attitude, then like no, like I put them in that place. What are
Yes.
your thoughts on that? Is it like you should just kind of like give it another try and then like
Well, I
third time's
think
a charm type of thing?
yeah, I could definitely agree with that because I've actually had to be like that on my live Twitch streams with certain people in the chat. Like people would come in and like we'd be having fun and people would come in and say something negative and bring the whole mood down. And then
Mhm.
I would be like, okay, listen, like I'm sorry, like if you're having a bad day. And I actually have said this countless times to people, like and so I agree with you on this, but like I would just be like, I understand if you're having a bad day and I'm so sorry, but tonight we're just hanging out and we're going to chill a little bit. And if you could just keep it positive, whatever.
Mhm.
And if they kept on with their shit, they would get timed out. And it, like when you time someone out, they're timed out for 10 minutes. They can't speak. They can't do anything, whatever. And on Twitch anyway, I only give them 2 chances
Mhm.
because it is so ridiculous how quickly someone could bring the mood down in a chat.
Yeah.
And I try to use my Twitch channel as a kind of like another little escape for people who want to just not think about the news or politics or pandemic or their depressing day at work or whatever. They could come in and watch me rage out on video games and have fun conversations and watch wrestling matches and
Yeah.
and so I can't have people do that. But I would say definitely the 3 strike rule is
Mhm.
definitely the way to go because I think it shows that you're being more than fair. And
Mhm.
if they've literally used those few opportunities they had to turn it around with you
Mhm.
to choose to continue to be negative, then they're not worth it. It's not worth the time.
Exactly. And since we're talking about Twitch as well, when I was doing playback, the Twitch show for Impact, there
Yes.
were probably just like a handful of times, all different times, where someone would come in and be like, oh, who is this girl? And like start talking crap and stuff. And like
Right.
our show was to watch old TNA Impact shows and talk about it. And
Right.
so there'd be like, newbies coming in and be like, oh, these two just can't shut up. I just want to watch, I just want to watch this match.
Right.
I would just call them out. Like I read every single comment, right? Not only because
Uh-huh.
like obviously I want everyone to feel included and you're there to chat with everybody,
Exactly.
but like I'd call them out and pretty much like 100% of the time I'd say their reaction would be like, oh, I didn't expect you to like
Respond or
to respond. Oh, I didn't really realize this was live, or like if that was like their excuse or whatever, but it shut them up. It shut them
right.
up. And you know what?
Yeah.
That's what people need. And that's why I only give just that one last chance. You only have one chance. You have
Right.
one chance to be kind. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Is that sometimes people need to be put in their place because
Yep.
maybe they don't have that in their life.
And I agree with that. Like, and it most certainly is like, if you're going to be able to say whatever you want to that person, don't be surprised if you get called out.
Mhm. Exactly. Okay. One last question. What is something that will brighten your mood no matter how bad of a day you're having?
I will have to say that it is my dog, Charlie.
Oh.
And we have 2 kitty cats. Like I could literally be having the worst day ever and all they
Hmm.
have to do is just appear and I'm just like, oh, they're so
Oh.
cute. And like I'll tell you what, when I was going through that little depressing spell with after that WWE stuff,
Hmm.
I truly believe that my dog alone got me through that. He was on my lap licking my tears, just didn't leave my side. And he's staring at me right now, wagging his tail. But like I really, really do go above and beyond for our pets. And I just because I'm the type of person and I'm like, they're here for us to spoil. And obviously like, and I'm just a huge pet person anyway, and I was a vet tech for several years when I first started wrestling. So it's like kind of like in my blood, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
But like one question that we always get asked by our friends whenever they come over and meet our pets is they're always like, how are your pets just so cool? Like, because I could swear that my dog knows English and knows everything I'm saying. Like it's crazy. Like I feel like he's so smart, but I just think it's important. And I know this sounds so silly, but I know there's lots of people who love pets and stuff, but like, I just think it's important just to make a big deal out of them to them. Yeah. And like, every morning, like when Charlie comes downstairs, we are all like, Charlie, and we'll like jump around and dance around, and he's all excited. And he'll like hop around and like, it's like he's dancing with us. And like, we do the same thing for our cats. And like, I don't know. I just, but they always want to be around us.
Yeah.
Like, so I don't know. They make me happy and I feel like we make them happy.
Well, you just basically treat them like, they're your kids, right?
Yeah.
So it's it's love.
Until we have one. And then Charlie's going to be jealous because we do plan on having one. So
really?
Yes. I'm like, I've always wanted at least one kid. And I know Sammy will be an amazing dad.
Oh,
so I'm excited.
I'm excited for you guys.
I don't think I've ever talked about that on a podcast
oh my
yet.
Goodness.
So breaking news.
Yeah. Hello.
Funny. I know that you're a fan of Sue Young, so I will have to I have to show you. I'm going to have to go find it, and hopefully maybe she still has it. But a few years ago, she sent me a GIF and she's like, come get your son. And it was a really funny little like short video of this cute little boy running through the yard with a knife.
Oh my God.
But I know, but it's hilarious because the lady's like filming the yard and she's like
it's
there's
normal.
like just like an adult, there's like a party, like there's like, I saw a beer pong table, but like they had a nice pool in the backyard. And then you see this cute little boy running with something in his hand. And the girl filming him is like, it's his mom, I think. She's like, what do you have? And he's so proud. He's keeps running past her and he goes, a knife. And he holds a knife up. Oh my
gosh.
And he keeps running and she's like, no. And the video ends. But she's like, come get your kid. And I was like, oh my God, that would be our little death machine.
Oh,
but I have to find that GIF now so I can send it to you. You will crack up.
Oh my gosh. I have to see it.
So funny.
Okay, one last game. I love to end my podcast with this game. It is my Survivor Series game.
Oh.
So, because you are into video games, choose 4 other video game characters you'd want on your squad with you.
Oh, I love this. Okay. So, first and foremost, Leon S. Kennedy from Resident Evil 2 and 4 and 6. And yeah, I'm trying to think of all the titles he was in. Leon S. Kennedy, he's my favorite character. And he was like my ultimate nerd crush when I was younger. Still kind of think he's hot, but whatever. Not a big deal. So Leon Kennedy, Nathan Drake from Uncharted, because he's like super acrobatic and could probably get up high places if we needed. And then let's see. Right now I'm telling Sammy, I'm naming all 4 video game characters that would be in my squad. So far, Leon and Nathan Drake. I think definitely Lara Croft, because she and I go way back, Tomb Raider. Like I've played her game since like 96.
Hitman.
Oh, wow.
I'm not picking Hitman, Sammy. That's your choice. And let's see. Can I just pick Batman because I love him and he's in video games?
Yeah, of course.
It's like, yeah, 3 hot dudes and a hot chick.
And thanks for explaining, because like I kind of know the games, but like
Yeah.
don't really. So yeah, it helped.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I hope she doesn't like ask me about like video games.
Oh no. I mean, I obviously could talk about video games forever, but I never know like who else is into video games too. Cause I mean, I'm 34 and one of my incomes is I make decent money playing video games on Twitch.
Mhm.
And I will once in a while get someone in my chat like, aren't you a little old to be playing video games? And I'm like,
my
fuck
gosh.
you. Who are you? Like,
Yeah.
don't even start with me.
Mhm.
But yeah, so no, but you could ask me all the video game questions. I don't even care.
Well, just I want to thank you so freaking much for coming on. I loved chatting with you. I loved hearing about your stories. I loved learning about you.
Yay.
Can you tell everyone where they can find your Instagram, your Twitch, or any other things that you're on?
Yes. So, as I said before, I stream on Twitch almost daily, unless I have to go on the road for Impact. So I stream daily on twitch.tv/Jessicka Havok, spelled JESSICKA HAVOK. I also am on Instagram at Havok Death Machine. And my Twitter is at Fear Havoc, although you won't be hearing much from me on there. And I also do have a Patreon as well, where I post photo shoots, blogs, do-it-yourself arts and crafts for when I make my own entrance jackets.
Oh my
Lots
gosh,
behind
really? That's
Yes,
so cool.
I'm actually working on a jacket right now that I started on my live stream yesterday. So,
oh my gosh.
Yeah. So, just like random stuff like that. Like there's a lot of just positive stuff and like just like behind the scenes things. But my Patreon is patreon.com/Jessicka Havok.
Amazing. Amazing. Thanks, Jess.
Thank you.
Of course. I'd like to remind everyone to check in with those around you. Whatever you're feeling, just know that those emotions are valid. And please express them, because it is super important for your mental health.
Yes. You are not alone.
Yes, exactly. I want to thank Jessicka again for coming on and sharing her stories. And thank you guys for listening. Until then, see you next Tuesday.